Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to Season 6 of Direwolf20's Let's Play series. Oh man, I'm so excited to get started. We have finally reached the point where the 1.6.4 mods are ready to go. We've got the FTB mod launcher going. You guys will see a little bit later today how to install these mods if you're not sure how to use the FTB launcher to get this mod pack for yourself. We've got 102 mods loaded up and ready to go. So what do you say we get started with Season 6? Alright, let's do it. So, single player, we're going to create a new world. I'm going to name it Direwolf20, Let's Play Season 6. Cool. I'm pretty excited. Alright, world options. I'm going to turn it on so that it's a Biomes of Plenty world. We do have Biomes of Plenty installed, and this will ensure that the world gen uses the Biomes of Plenty biomes, so we can have some pretty nifty stuff to check out. Everything else looks pretty good, and a seed for the world. Good question. What do I want to have the seed be? Let's do Direwolf20, Season 6. Finally. Yeah, 2 exclamation points. I think it's worth it, right? Alright, let's see what we get. Create new world. Building terrain. Oh, I'm so excited it's actually starting. You guys have no idea how long I've been looking forward to getting Season 6 started for you guys. I'm really pretty excited to see where we land. World gens occurring. Oh boy. Cool. Hey, we've got some good stuff going on here. Well, it's a snow biome. I'm not a huge fan of living in the snow biome, but I see some kind of forest off to the north there. Might want to go check that out. And while we get started, I think what I'll do is begin like any other game, punching wood. Okay, in fairness, I'm hitting it with a brook. Let's punch it. Alright, so just like any other world, you're going to start by collecting a good amount of wood. Now, those of you who have not seen my single-player Let's Play series before, it's a little different from my multiplayer series on Forgecraft. When I play on multiplayer, I assume a good knowledge and understanding of how the mods work, and I do some basic explaining of why I'm building things the way I'm building them, but I generally just assume that you guys kind of know what's going on. The single-player series, on the other hand, I tend to treat it a little bit like a tutorial and a showcase of all the different mods, so you can see the different cool contraptions that you can build by putting all these different mods together. So that's kind of where we're going to start out. I'm going to show you guys exactly what kind of cool stuff you can do playing with mods. So pretty much like usual, you're going to want to start off and get yourself a couple basic tools. And you can see me doing that there. I've also got this book, which I'll hang on to because I'm going to actually need that a little bit later. Alright, just a couple basic tools to get started. That's much better. So yeah, finally, right? Season 6. I've been looking forward to getting this going, like I said, for a while now, and I'm really pleased to be able to bring it to you guys. We've got a lot of different mods. Let me actually go into my settings here and change off a couple things. I don't usually like view bobbing, and everything else looks here pretty good. There we go. Much better. Cool. Let's navigate our way out of this forest, because I tend not to like to live in forests, and I already see something pretty cool and exciting off in the distance here. Look at that volcano. Nice. Now, those of you who are looking at that volcano might be saying, oh, does that mean red power is here? Unfortunately, no. Red power is not installed. But don't worry, I've come up with a pretty good solution to the fact that we don't have red power available. It's actually going to be a pretty good substitute. We'll get to that in a few minutes here. We can see ourselves in one of the Biomes of Plenty biomes called the Cherry Blossom Grove. Pretty nifty looking biome and not a bad place maybe to start hanging out. I can also see on my map there up to the top left that we've got some other cool stuff to see. Another biome available to us. Nice. Cherry wood. Cherry wood looks pretty nice, by the way. Nice, bright red. Pretty good looking. I'll grab these saplings as well, because you never know when you're going to need some more wood. So just like I said, any other world, you tend to want to start off and explore and do a little bit of mining. We can see a nice ravine right here. So this is actually pretty good, actually. Nice. Really excited to see a ravine, because it means we can kind of get started pretty early on finding a good amount of materials. I tend to like to build like near mountains and ravines so I can kind of get in there. Doesn't look like there's an easy access to the ravine just yet, but I'll definitely do a little bit of exploring and find it. Yeah. Oh look, see? We're already burning down some trees with this lava. I'll collect the saplings. Cool. So I think what I'll do is kind of run around a little bit. I'll find a nice place to call home for a short period of time. Don't know if it'll be my permanent home or not. And then I'll come back and we'll see what kind of mods we've got installed for Season 6. Alright guys, not too far away, you can kind of see the volcano back there. I found a place that looks like as good as any to call home. And it's actually really lucky because I found some coal right here on the edge of the mountain. So I'm going to start mining that up. And as I start to mine the coal, I'm going to talk about a little bit some of the mods we've got installed here. One of the ones that is probably jumping out to you already is this map up on the top right corner. That's the Map Writer mod. It's a pretty nice map, and you'll be able to hit M to see like a big zoomed in version of the map. There's a lot of different things you can do with it. We're going to get into some of the very useful and functional things you can do with that map coming up pretty soon. But for now, just be aware that that's the Map Writer mod and it's installed. The other thing you might see on the top center of the screen is what's called Whala. It's a mod called What Am I Looking At? Whala. It's a very useful mod because it actually has a lot of detailed information on the tooltips, and it shows you a lot about what you're looking at. Basically, what is this thing I'm looking at? What mod does it come from? So if I were to come over here and look at this wood, it tells me it comes from the Biomes of Plenty mod. And obviously coal just comes from vanilla Minecraft, as does this grass block. Okay, so what am I looking at? Very useful for those new to the mods who kind of like are looking at some kind of block and have no idea what is this. What am I looking at? That's what the mod's all about. You can use the number pad, the number 1, and it'll disable that tooltip. So if you don't want to have that tooltip sitting there, talking to you and showing you what this mod's all about or where this thing's coming from, you can easily disable that and then just turn it on again by pressing the 1 key. Again, that's the number pad 1 on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Cool. So I've got a bunch of coal here. Let's go ahead and turn it into some torches because that's probably about the most useful thing I can do with coal at this point. And I usually like to get as many torches as possible. Cool. Since I've already mined up a good amount of cobblestone, I can probably already get myself a cobblestone pick. Nice. There we go. I'll go ahead and burn up this wooden pick. So, what other mods do we have installed as I just start mining and looking for a house? Well, let's go through the list, shall we? I've got Ars Magica 2. I'm going to do this in alphabetical order, by the way. Ars Magica 2 is a magic-based mod. I know some of you people were wondering, is this going to be in the mod pack or not? It's a pretty cool mod. I won't lie, it's a little bit early on in its development, but it's definitely got a lot of really cool features, and I know a lot of the things planned coming up look like a lot of fun. So I wanted to make sure that it was in the mod pack. It's got some world generation that I wanted you guys to have access to. It's a very fun mod, and it's all about magic, and a lot of fun of it is in PvP. I think they actually have plans later down the line to turn this into like a full-blown PvP type mod. This might not be a bad place to call home where I'm sitting at right now. If I just cleared this out a little bit and maybe, dug in and found myself in like a little bit of a mining cave situation, that would actually be a really nice place to call home where I'm at. Alright, next up, what other mods do we got installed here? Well, one of my own personal favorites, Applied Energistics. Applied Energistics is a mod all about storage and automation and logistics. So if you're a fan of building complex logistical systems and auto crafting and auto output, and there we go, broke that pick, good. That's definitely the mod for you. So Applied Energistics, one that you guys have seen me use in the past, so a lot of cool, fun mod. I think I am going to call this home, as a matter of fact. I just want to build it up so it's somewhat safe. Safe, quote unquote. Let's head down here. What I should really find before it gets too dark is a sheep or two, so I can get myself, some stuff. Alright, well that's enough stone for now. Let's get our crafting table. Of course, I always forget to pick up my crafting tables because I'm used to just putting them down and using them and ignoring them. But I'm going to get myself another pick to replace later. And I'll get myself also a shovel. And a sword. And another axe. That looks pretty good. And one other thing I'll do is get myself a door. And maybe even a chest to store some of my stuff. Cool. Just a real basic setup, early game house. Definitely want to store that book. We're going to want that book later. We can, of course, recraft it later, so it's not a big deal if you lose the book, but it's useful for one of the mods that I haven't even told you about yet. I'll hold on to my wooden sticks for now, but everything else I'll store in here. Cool. Let's see where I want to build this door. I think this little underhang right here, right by this tree, looks like as good a place as any. That'll do. Might not keep out all the enemies, but it'll at least get us going. Cool. Alright, next up on the mod list, Bibliocraft. Bibliocraft adds a lot of cool stuff, and as a matter of fact, I could probably show you some of the things it adds in NEI, because unlike some of the mods which are very technical in nature, Bibliocraft is all about appearances, and it allows for a lot of neat stuff. So let me bring up the list of mods. This is NEI. I'll tell you about that in just a minute here, but Bibliocraft adds a bunch of cool stuff, a bunch of different lamps, and while I'm in NEI, actually, because I have just started this world, and I haven't had a chance to actually do this yet, I think I should do it now, once I finish clearing out this tree. Goodness, this is a tall tree. There we go. Oh, it's getting dark already. That's going to be dangerous. I should change NEI. I'm going to switch it here to recipe mode. NEI can allow you to cheat in items, but more importantly, it allows you to look up recipes for stuff. Now, I know a lot of you guys are, longtime fans of the channel, so some of this stuff is obviously very, very obvious to you, and you're like, Dire, really? You're telling me how to use NEI? But remember, I do want to focus on getting this, mod out to the masses so people can kind of see how the mod works and everything and all the different mods that are available in the pack. And some people might be new to the channel, so I want to make sure everybody has a clear understanding of how things work, okay? So that's 2 pieces of wool. And yeah, I could be shearing sheep instead of killing them, but good, here's another one. Nice. That's going to be very important to me. All right, so... Ooh. Even found some good stuff here. This here is a cotton plant, even though it's coming up wrong, but trust me, it's a cotton plant. When you right click it, you get a piece of cotton, which you can use to turn into string or wool. Cool. So aside from the fact that we already have 3 pieces of cotton, we could have used those. Now, unfortunately, there's one of the mods, the hats mod. When I kill this guy, I get his hat. Nice, and I can wear it. I'll show you that maybe when it's not dark and dangerous. So unfortunately no food just yet, but that's okay. Not worried about food as much as I am worried about getting into a bed, because it's nighttime and I am in no way equipped to fight some of the enemies out here. Something like Ars Magica 2 adds some really nasty and scary enemies, so believe me when I tell you, you want to be careful at night. So let's get downstairs and craft ourselves a bench. There we go, a bed. I'll put it right here. I'm thinking this will probably eventually become my mining cave. Typically what I do when I get started in a world is start out in a cave, just kind of, improvised housing like I am right now. This is actually a really nice cave to start in. I'm happy I found it. And then store some of this stuff away for later. And then I'll build a house. And I'll just use the cave as kind of my mining access. So I'll eventually dig down and start mining. Alright, so what do we got next on the list of mods that are available as I look around outside for, anything else I can start using or getting? Probably want to get some seeds and maybe even start a basic farm, because you can see my health is already getting low. In fact, I think I want to change it to hard mode. Yeah, I want to play on hard. So you can see, aside from, some of the normal stuff that you get when breaking grass, we've got a couple extra different types of seeds. I'll go into some of those in the future here. But next mod on the list, we've got a couple Bibliocraft add-ons called Biblio Woods. And it adds all the different woods from Biomes of Plenty and Forestry and Natura and Skeleton. How's it going? It's a pretty nice mod. And, ooh, there must be a chicken nearby here somewhere. Yes, I will take some eggs. Ooh, a couple chickens, actually. And one's wearing a hat. Hello there. Top hat unlocked. Oh, I'm going to wear a top hat. Press H to bring up the hats menu, and you can choose all the hats that you found, and hit done. And now, your character's wearing a hat. Nice, right? There's a bunch of different hats available. So yeah, Biblio Woods just adds a bunch of different types of different woods to Bibliocraft. But next up we've got Billand. Billand is a mod that I haven't spotlighted yet. Oh, there's one of the Ars Magica 2 monsters, and he's wearing a nifty hat. Oh, he exploded. Luckily that blue creeper doesn't do much in way of damage. It does a little bit, but not much. What he does though, which hurts, is he drains some of your mana. So once you get some mana, you're going to have a little bit of a rough time with that. Alright, I better make my way home, because while I have... There we go. There goes the end of my hunger bar. Ouch. I'm going to starve to death. Billund adds what's basically Lego blocks. It was a Mod Jam mod, and Mod Jam is kind of this contest where they do like they have like a weekend to create a mod. So literally just like a couple days create a mod from scratch. Oh good, I made it back to my house before I died. And Billund basically adds Lego blocks. So if we were to even look in NEI here and looked at Billund, we'd see like this little Lego brick, and you basically can expand upon that. And it's a pretty nifty and fun mod. Don't worry, I'll get into it in the future. I'm just going to put away all my stuff here. Anything I don't need to be carrying around. Alright, I'm probably going to die here in a moment, so I'll come back when I'm alive again. So I came back just to show you me dying. There we go. Alright, back to life. That's good. Just in time to tell you about the next mod we've got on the list as I go outside and explore a little bit more. I'm just going to explore a little bit outside here, maybe even get a little basic farm going before I really start looking out and going mining underground, which is what I said I usually start off doing. But this time I'm going to start off and actually focus on making sure I have a decent amount of food available for when I get back from mining. Cool. The next mod on the list, Biomes of Plenty. So we can already see some of the examples of Biomes of Plenty. It's all good. We've got a nice list of biomes out here. There's just tons and tons of different biomes added to the game. Some of them really impressive, some of them really quite scary. So trust me, it's a cool mod. Alright, that should be enough seeds just to get started here. I really have to learn not to sprint when I have no food. Let's go craft ourselves a hoe, and we'll get some food going. And then I'll tell you about the next mod on the list, one that everybody should be familiar with, one of the oldest mods in existence, believe it or not. It's been around for longer than I can even tell you guys. It's probably one of the very first mods that ever came out, is Buildcraft. Buildcraft has been around forever, let me tell you guys. It's definitely one of the most popular mods still today. It adds a ton of automation and transport to the game. We'll get into Buildcraft later on, I guarantee that. Where should I build this? What I should really do is find myself a source of water so I can build near it. There is like a little river over in this direction. Maybe I'll go plant this over here, and then when I get some iron, I'll be able to smelt it up and make a bucket and bring it back home. Can you believe this? I don't even have iron yet. That's the situation I'm in. Oh, what's up, Mana Creeper? Ah, almost got him. They are pretty hard to kill, believe it or not. They explode really quickly. But the good news is they don't hurt too much. What is this? A natural dungeon? Right near the... Wow, that's lucky. Look at that. Ooh, some tin and some copper and 3 music discs. Wow, that's really lucky, actually. Can't believe I found that close to the surface. I'm just going to kind of look around in here. Gotcha. Any iron? Nope, of course not. Lots of other ores, but no iron. Next mod on the list, Chicken Chunks. Chicken Chunks is the chunk loading mod from Chicken Bones. We've also got Code Chicken Core, which is the core mod from Chicken Bones. It's basically what allows a lot of his mods to do a lot of the cool things that they do. I'm not going to go mining yet, but we definitely see there's a lot of cool stuff down here, and I actually think I might have gotten pretty close to my ravine. Ah! Ars Magica 2 enemy. They shoot lightning, and they are nasty. What is this guy called, even? Mana Elemental. Yeah. Watch out for them. Still no iron, though. Ah, creeper. Alright, I am out of here before I lose my music discs. Let's run. We've got COFH Core, which is part of Thermal Expansion. It's the core mod that also adds some other stuff to the game. So you know what? Instead of going and getting water, I was going to look for some water, but forget it. I'm not seeing any iron easily accessible here. I think I'm going to go start mining, actually, downstairs. It'll be a little bit safer and a little bit easier for me to get started that way. Besides, I have a bunch of resources from outside already. I don't need to be out here much longer. Compact Solars is the next mod on the list. We've got, it's an add-on for Industrial Craft, which I haven't mentioned yet, but of course I have Industrial Craft. You guys should have known that. Should not be a surprise at all. We've got Computer Craft, definitely one of my favorite mods. Some people don't like to see me writing code on camera, and to be honest with you, I can't blame you. I know it's a little bit boring to watch me write code. That's why typically I try not to do too much writing of code while I'm on camera. But believe me, we'll definitely be doing some cool stuff with computer craft this season. If you're not traditionally a fan of computer craft, I don't like to show it on camera, of course, me actually doing the coding, but you'll definitely see some really cool and complex designs. It adds some neat stuff, especially by way of automation. We've also got a mod called Den Pipes. It basically adds a couple different types of pipes for Buildcraft, so it's a Buildcraft add-on, and adds some really useful pipes. One of the most useful ones comes into play with forestry, which I'll show you guys a little bit later. What I think I'm going to do now is just do a little bit of mining into the earth here, and then I'll be back when I'm ready to, get something exciting happening. There we go. About time I found iron. Nice. So I guess while I'm mining this iron up, I will go ahead and continue listing off the mods that we've got installed, and I'll also do a little bit of mining here. We've got Ender Storage. Yep, Ender Storage, again, a pretty standard mod in the Direwolf packs. It adds and expands upon Ender Chests, and I actually think it's one of those mods that I think the Ender Storage mod was out before Vanilla added Ender Chests. So it's definitely one of those mods that's like, hey, that guy's been around for a while. Yeah. And it's a cool mod because it really expands upon what even vanilla Ender Chests can do. They do a lot of cool stuff. We've got, you ready for this one? Gate Copy, which is an add-on to Buildcraft. I don't think I've spotlighted this or covered this mod before, but I will show you guys what it's all about. It's basically a pretty lightweight mod that allows you to copy your gate settings from one logic gate to the next in Buildcraft. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, don't worry, but veterans of the channel should have a basic idea of what that means. We've got Gravity Gun. Yep, another mod from iTunes. Gravity Gun adds the Gravity Gun from Half-Life to the game. It's a lot of fun, and we'll definitely be getting to that one eventually. Pretty straightforward mod, though. We've got hats, which we already talked about. And then we've got Industrial Craft. Nice. Industrial Craft is a staple. Another one of those really old mods that's just been around forever. Industrial Craft, I think, is one of the very first mods I've ever played with. Yeah, it's a cool mod, and we'll definitely be getting to that one, of course. It adds a lot of stuff. Recently, they've been making a lot of changes to Industrial Craft, and I think for the better, because it adds a lot of functionality to the mod. It's a lot of fun to play with some of the new stuff that they've added and done with it. We've also got an Industrial Craft add-on called IC2 Nuclear Control. It helps with the nuclear reactors that are part of Industrial Craft. Yeah, that's right. This mod adds nuclear reactors, and there's a mod for the mod that makes it a little bit easier to use and read them. Cool. Next up on the list, Infinity Bows. It's a really, really lightweight mod. Basically, all it does is make it so that when you have the Infinity enchant on a bow, you don't need to carry around one arrow with you in order to fire it. You just actually have Infinity arrows, even if you don't have any in your inventory. Not bad. Inventory tweaks, is one of my favorites. It allows you to basically middle-click your inventory to sort it, and a couple other cool features. It's a client-side mod. It really doesn't. I think it can go on the server, but it doesn't really do much there. So, it's more about manipulating the client and getting their inventory sorted and that kind of thing. We've got iron chests. Basically gives you a bunch of different chests available in the game. It's really useful for expanding and building larger and larger chests that can fit within one block space. Logistics pipes. That's right. You guys saw me spotlight that a little bit ago, and a lot of people asked if it was going to be part of the pack. Yep, it's part of the pack. So Logistics Pipes is back. It's not made by Craft. It's a group who decided to take on and advance Craft's work. So it's a pretty cool mod. They've done a lot with it. If you see my spotlight, I think it was like a couple months back, actually. The Logistics Pipe mod is a lot of fun and very cool. We'll definitely be doing some Logistics Pipes. So I hope you're excited, like I am, to see Logistics Pipes back. Cool. We've done a good amount of mining here. Let's get upstairs and start doing a little bit of smelting, just to get myself some iron and that kind of thing. So we'll get ourselves a furnace here. There we go. And I know everybody's going to yell at me and say, oh, Dyer, what are you doing? You shouldn't be using coal. You should be using sticks. I know. I still like to use coal. Call me old-fashioned. Cool. You know what else I could be doing is cooking up that chicken. That might not be a terrible idea. I'm going to make another furnace here. Where is that chicken at? There we go. Cool. All right, where'd I leave off? Magic Bees, which is an add-on for forestry. And, yeah. Did I mention forestry? You know what? I skipped a bunch. How did I do that? Let me go back on the list here a little bit to a couple that I skipped. I know I covered Ender Storage. We've got extra utilities. Yeah, can't believe I mixed a couple of these guys. Extra utilities adds a bunch of cool stuff to the game, a bunch of just different useful utilities, basically. Hence its namesake, extra utilities. It's definitely recently become one of my favorite mods, and you guys will see a bunch of really cool and useful stuff coming up very soon from extra utilities. It's probably something I'm going to start off pretty early on with. There we go, got some food. We've got factorization. Factorization adds a bunch to the game. It's coming along. Actually, Neptune Pink has been doing a lot of work recently to get it going. There's this whole new mechanic that I'll show you guys regarding item transport. It's a lot of fun, and you'll be seeing it very soon. We've got flat signs, which allows you to place signs that are actually flat in the world. So instead of being like standing up, you'll go ahead and see them being flat laid out in the world. Cool. We've got forestry, of course. So forestry adds, actually, this stuff right here, appetite, is part of forestry. So kind of cool that I found some already. Nice. It basically allows you to automate and do a lot of automation built around foresting. So you can do stuff like automate trees, and it also adds bee breeding, which, love them or hate them, bee breeding is pretty useful and cool. It adds a bunch of stuff really to the game. And we'll be getting into all these mods, I promise. All right, let me mine for a little bit, and then I'll be right back. All right, continuing on with the list of mods as I do further mining. And don't worry if you're worried about how much mining I'm doing on camera. Typically, I only mine on camera during about the first episode, because that's really all there is to do in the first episode. Once we get deeper in, I usually cut out the mining parts because, I don't know, I consider mining to be a little bit boring. I don't think you guys want to actually sit here and watch me mine for a bit, right? Nah, I don't think so. So what mod is after Magic Bees? Well, we've got MFFS, the Modular Force Field System. However, it's not the MFFS that you guys are familiar with. This is actually Calclavia's version of MFFS, MFFS version 3.0. I spotlighted it a while back. I'll probably do an updated spotlight because he's added a few things to it since I've covered it. And let me tell you guys, there's some really neat stuff that I haven't shown you yet. So it's a really cool mod, and really takes the whole force field system to a different level. And I'm pretty excited to show it to you, because, like I said, there's some awesome stuff part of it. We've got Mobius Core, which is part of Professor Mobius's mods. He adds a couple different mods here that I'll get to in a little bit. And we've got Modular Power Suits. So Modular Power Suits adds a bunch of different power suits to the game that are modular, and you can, change them out and have different modules that do different things. They help you run faster. Oh, cool, nice. I already got some order shards from Thumbcraft. Yeah, Thumbcraft's here, of course. So yeah, modular power suits, very cool mod, and I'll definitely be making some of those early on. Oh, nice. Some Certus Quartz too. This Certus Quartz is from Applied Energistics, as you can see from the tooltip, thanks to Wayla. And it's a useful thing for when you get started with the Applied Energistics systems. We've got Morph. You guys have seen me playing with Morph on Forgecraft. It's kind of a pre-release mod. It's not completely done yet, but it allows you to morph. As I've been killing enemies in single player here, you've been seeing them kind of shift into like this black form, right? Let's take a look at what you can do with Morph. Morph allows you to morph into any animal that you've killed. So if I wanted to be a creeper, dun dun dun, morphing into creeper. But I still keep my hat on, because hats are classy, and I'm a classy creeper. I can also shift into a zombie. Now, sometimes you take on different traits of the enemies that you kill. So if you are a zombie, keep in mind that because you're an enemy, you might burn in sunlight. So watch out for that. Same if you shift into a skeleton. Spiders, though, have a pretty nice ability in that they can climb up walls. So if you're shifting into a spider here, you should be able to climb up walls, I think. Yep, so you can see me here climbing up the walls. Cool, right? Yeah, very nice. So we'll get into some of the different morph abilities. You can breathe underwater as a squid, and you can even fly with some of them. So, like I said, it's still a work in progress. It's a very early version of the mod, so he's still, adding some tweaks and changes and balance to it. So I think there's more changes coming down the line. It's like version 0.5 or something crazy low like that. And I'm going to collect as much of this coal as I can, because we really could use as much as we can get. And I know my iron pick's already breaking. I'm kind of surprised that I haven't found another iron node yet, but I guess we will eventually. Cool. There we go. Maybe I should hold on to my iron pick. I'm usually just using it right now just to make it faster to mine. Wow, we have a lot more mods to list here. We've got Mistcraft, of course, which adds the ability to create your own custom dimensions and travel to them at will. Very nice mod. I'm going to have to go make another pick. We've got, let's see here, next on the list after Mistcraft, Natura. We saw some of the parts of Natura out there. It's basically a bunch of world gen it adds, different types of trees and plants and that kind of thing. Basically anything that's world gen, that's nature based, you'll see comes from Natura, and it's a very nifty mod. All right, let's see, I've got, you know what I can make? Because I found copper and tin, I can make myself some bronze. And bronze is actually a pretty nice tool type. Why don't I do that? There we go, bronze pick. Cool. Shouldn't have a problem using that. Next on the list, what else do we got here? We've got NEI. So NEI, as we know, is this list of mods here. It allows you to look up how to make items by hitting the R key to find the recipe for that item that you have hovered over, and you can hit the U key to see how you can use it. So you can see here gold ore we can smelt into gold ingots, or we can macerate, or we can pulverize, induction smelt. There's a bunch of different things you can do with gold. And you know, basically, if you want to know how to use an item or what it's used for, hit U to look up the recipes that use that item, and hit R to look up the recipe to make that item and how to use it. Very useful mod. We've got obsidian pressure plates. Definitely one of my favorite mods, something that I've always felt should have been part of the game from early on. It's basically a pressure plate that can only open when a player stands on it, and enemies or NPCs that stand on it have no effect. Cool. It also adds a couple other types of pressure plates, like invisible ones and silent ones, so it's really pretty cool. And ooh, did I find a nice little cave down here? I believe I did. Nice. I often like finding caves, because typically you're just going to find a lot more ores down here. Of course, it's probably a little bit more dangerous. What Y level am I at? 30? Not bad. I should be able to find some stuff. Oh, good. There's more iron. Nice. Let's make our way down here. Just got to be careful, because, you know, it's dark and scary and terrible things. What else do we got on the list here? Ah, creeper. That's what we got on the list. More creepers. All right. That's cool. Ooh, found some sapphire. Awesome. Nice. I like that. I'll definitely take sapphire. Bunch of stuff down here. I'm just going to light it up a little bit and then do some mining. We've got, after obsidian pressure plates, we've got open blocks and open peripherals, both made by the same mod developer, Mikey Moo. Open peripherals is an add-on to Computercraft that adds a bunch of functionality to Computercraft, and basically turns almost everything in the game into a peripheral that you can control with Computercraft, from chests to MFSUs to whatever. And open blocks adds a bunch of nifty different blocks to the game, and they're both, I believe, they're named open because they're open source mods, and you know, different people can sometimes go ahead and submit different pull requests, they're called. It's basically a way for other people to submit ideas to the mod and get them, they can actually write the code themselves. So a very cool bunch of different mods that add just, you know, open blocks adds a bunch of different unique and interesting stuff to the game. More iron. And I know there's a bunch of ores that I'm passing up right now. I'm kind of just mapping out this cave a little bit and looking around, and then we will, and I'm grabbing the resources I need immediately, like iron, and then I'll definitely come back and mine pretty much everything out of here. I just don't want to do it all on camera, you know. Like I said, very few experiences on camera will be mining, but for now there's not much else to do. Besides list the mods that we've got, like Opus. Opus I've recently spotlighted, and for those of you who are playing this single player or playing on a server with some friends, probably not going to be all that useful to you, but if you're a server owner, it's going to be one of the most useful tools in your inventory, because Opus allows you to figure out where the trouble spots are on your server and what's causing lag and slowdowns. So Opus is a very useful and powerful mod. I did a spotlight on it recently. If you are interested, definitely check out that spotlight, because it'll help you out to track down the cause of any slowdowns, like I said. Not a bad mining cave at all. I think I'm going to really enjoy looking around down here. Again, grabbing as much iron as possible, because that's kind of what I need to get started here. Cool. We've got plugins for forestry, which adds just a couple different forestry gadgets. I'll show you guys that in a little bit. We've got portal gun, which adds a portal gun to the mod. That's so cool. Oh, nice. We've got some paradots. That's neat. I think these guys are coming from Project Red Core. Cool. We can use them to make tools. Nice. I'll show you what that's all about in just a minute here. Speaking of Project Red, we've got Project Red. That's right. Project Red is basically a replacement for Red Power. It's completely original code, so no code was copied from Red Power, but it seeks to replace a lot of the functionality that the lack of Red Power has left behind. So we'll be seeing a spotlight on Project Red soon. Probably within the next couple days or a couple weeks, maybe. Depends when they want me to spotlight it. The last couple times I've asked, they'll hold off because we want to wait for a couple little changes before the spotlight comes in. So Project Red will be spotlighted soon. Again, it's completely original code. No code was copied from Red Power, but it does seek to replace a lot of what Red Power, doesn't have, which is why we saw the volcano, and we're seeing some gems and stuff down here. And I already found some gold. That's cool. I'll take that. Of course, I don't have the inventory for it. Get rid of the stick. That's a good thing to get rid of. It's always good when you go on a mining expedition in your first episode of your Let's Play and you've run out of inventory space. I think I did pretty well here. What else do we have here? QCraft. If you guys didn't see my QCraft spotlight, boy, let me tell you, you're missing out. I don't think I need this one piece of wood. QCraft adds it's hard to explain, but it's quantum mechanics in Minecraft. It's pretty neat. Check out the spotlight, and that's a lot of skeletons. Definitely check out the spotlight for QCraft, and you will appreciate the fact that it's in the pack. Trust me. All right, I am going upstairs now. Maybe just a little bit of lighting up back here. Nice. We've got Railcraft. If you guys are into minecarts and railways and all kinds of different trains and stuff, Railcraft is definitely for you. It's, again, one of those staple mods that's been around for a long time, and it's just really a lot of fun to play with. We've got Steve's Carts. While Railcraft adds a bunch of different rails, Steve's Carts adds a bunch of different carts. And you can automate almost everything with carts, from killing NPCs to mining to farming and tree breeding and that kind of stuff. So Steve's Carts, definitely a useful mod. Let's clean up our whole inventory here. That was easy. All right, we're running low on the list of mods here. We have a couple more to get through. We've got the switches mod, which basically adds buttons that act like switches. We'll show you guys those in a bit. I'm going to go right back down and do more mining. I don't see why not. We've got Tinker's Construct, recently become one of my most favorite mods. Tinker's Construct adds the ability to make a bunch of different tools, and you can customize them by using different metals. And you can smelt metals together, and just a bunch of neat mechanics. We'll get into that probably very early on because it's a great early to mid-game mod. It adds a lot of good features for those early days before you have all kinds of tech and industry and that kind of thing. We've got Thaumcraft, of course. That's definitely one of my favorites, right? Thaumcraft is a mod all about magic and adds a ton of magical items and mechanics and just, you name it. If it's magical, Thaumcraft adds something for it. And it's constantly being updated. Asnor is a very talented mod developer, and he's constantly adding different mechanics to Thaumcraft. And an add-on to Thaumcraft is called Thaumic Tinkerer. It's basically adds a couple different magical items that, just kind of complement Thaumcraft, and it's a really cool mod. And speaking of Thaumcraft, here's some gems. That's going to really help me out early on with Thaumcraft. There's 6 different types of these, and you're going to want one of each to get started with Thaumcraft. I don't know how early we'll get into it, but we'll definitely get there pretty early on because Thaumcraft is a great, kind of across the board, early, mid, and late game. There's useful stuff in Thaumcraft. And I must be in the right biome because it's not common that you find sulfur. Railcraft only spawns its sulfur in a few biomes here, so nice. Thermal expansion. Thermal expansion just came out for version 1.64 of Minecraft. It's literally just a few days out, and I'm pretty excited that it was able to get out just as I was getting ready to get the pack out. So really nice to have thermal expansion back. You guys know I used it in the last season and will continue going forward. We've got an addition now to Tinker's Construct. In the past, the mechanics of Tinker's Mechworks, which is the new mod that's recently been added, was part of Tinker's Construct. Now Tinker's Mechworks has pulled out a couple different things, and if we come up and list here Tinker's Mechworks, we'll see there's a bunch of different stuff in here. If you haven't seen what it does on Forgecraft yet, you'll definitely see it this season. It adds some really, really useful. This signal terminal and bus and the length of wire here is really cool, so we'll definitely be getting to that early on. Cool. Look at this. You know what? I'm going to grab this stuff. Saltpeter. Nice. Oh, good. More iron, too. Almost at the list of the mods down here. Translocators adds, it's another Chicken Bones mod, and it was another Mod Jam mod, actually. Translocators is a really simple way of transferring items from one inventory to the next, but it's very powerful in that you can do a lot of control about how it gets transferred. So you guys will definitely appreciate translocators once you start playing with it a little bit. Ooh, look at these guys. Hey, zombies, how's it going? I think I might be heading back to my base soon. I've got a lot of resources, and I can kind of get started building a basic little bit of infrastructure. I do want to continue mining down to the lower Y levels, though, because I tend to, when I first start up my world, just head straight for like Y level 10 and start mining, just because typically that gets you a lot of cobblestone, as we've seen. I've already got a few stacks, and that'll help me get started on a basic house. Yeah, you know, Dyer's basic beginning house. And then, you know, that kind of cool stuff. So next on the list of mods, Twilight Forest adds a dimension worth exploring. It's all about exploring and adventure, and it's a really, really good adventure mod. So we'll definitely go visit the Twilight Forest and see what kind of mysteries it has. I think there's been a few things added since the last season. And the final mod on the list, Wireless Redstone, Chicken Bones Edition. Yet another Chicken Bones mod. It's hard to find mods these days that Chicken Bones doesn't have a hand in. But Wireless Redstone is basically exactly how it sounds. A redstone frequency that you can transmit wireless redstone signals on. So that's the full mod list, and with that, I think we're about ready to wrap up episode 1 of season 6. I can't believe it's already time to wrap up the episode. It feels like I just got started, but don't worry, there's plenty more to do. I'm going to, between this episode and next, do a little bit more mining. Like I said, after the first episode, I do almost all my mining off camera. I'll probably also build myself another chest, because that's what needs to happen now. Yeah, definitely running out of that, and we'll probably even start maybe even, you know, separating these things out. So let's get these guys set up here. And I'll kind of split out all the useful from the non-useful stuff. Cool. What do we got in here that's useful? You guys are all useful, as are you and you. These things can kind of just stay. The bucket will actually hang on to. Cool. That's not a bad start. You know what I'm going to do before I wrap up the episode, though? I'm going to make a gemmed tool or two. Now, the way it worked in Red Power, and I can only assume that it's pretty similar in this mod, is that the gemmed tools have the same mining speed as diamond, but not the same durability. So a really useful way to mine. I'm going to actually make a shovel as well. Oh, and definitely a sword. Perfect. What kind of damage does this do? 7.25 attack damage. All right. What's a diamond sword do? 7. Wow, so it's a little bit more damage than a diamond sword. Cool. Again, though, less durability overall. Cool. So, let's see how they mine real quick. Oh, yeah. Really nice. Cool. So, I assume it's the same, like I said, but we'll find out. Anyway, for now, this is Direwolf20 signing off on episode 1 of season 6 of the Let's Play series. Like I said to you guys earlier, I'm really excited to see it starting. I've been looking forward to this for a while. Hope you guys are excited as I am to get this season rolling. We'll be back next episode, and we're going to start putting some of these mods to use. Once I've got a bunch of resources here from mining between this episode and next, and some of the mining I did today, we'll be able to start building out some really complex builds, and we'll get started early on with some useful machines to help us out. All right, guys, take it easy.